Well, yet again, you're back here with old Barry. I wanted to just pull on by one of the local coastal beaches and just sit down and have a chat together. I want to ask you an important question. Where do you want to be when the war breaks out? We're going to pick this up a little bit later as I settle down and maybe grab a beer and we sit and chat. I want to find that out, seriously. You folks in Europe, where do you want to be when they start exercising capital controls? In America? Canada? Tell me where you want to be. I want to know. We'll pick this up on the way and we'll talk with you soon. Well, like I thought, it might be a little bit busy. People are starting to come in on the weekend, which is fine. People got to make a living and everything's fine. And when, it's so reasonable to have a fresh fish or a piece of chicken, maybe even a couple of cold beers or something like that. When it's that affordable, it's very common practice over the weekends. During the week, though, it's really quiet, and that's usually where you're going to find me out in these places, is during the week, not on the weekend. But anyway, it looks like I'm going to head on to a place maybe they call the Graveyard Beach, and we'll see we're there. Maybe say a quick hello to my buddy Randy over at number 7. Great place to stop, though, if you want to have a really good fresh piece of fish. It's a heck of a place to stop. And but yeah, it's going to be a little bit too crowded for me to do the kind of recording I want to do, because I seriously want to kind of have a chat, at least on my end of it, and how we see things. We've been saying first quarter to early part of second quarter is officially when this is going to be breaking out. And you can see it happening, and it's all to do with economy. What do they always do throughout history? There's my buddy Randy's place. They always, when economies are failing, they always take you to war. So I'm going to see how crowded it is here, but I have a sense it might be a bit too crowded for what I want to do, and I'll just pick it up on another beach. Around where I live, there's 8 local beaches. A couple of them are crowded only on weekends, though, but yeah, it looks like it might be a little bit too crowded for what I want to do, because I don't want 5 different musics and that kind of thing happening. I want it to be quiet, so I'll pick it up with you in a bit. Well, this looks a little bit more doable for me. I'll just go down a little bit further on down the road, but that's what I love about this part of the country. There's always a little place to get away where it's not crazy busy and it's not full of noise and everything like that. And I'm just going to pull on down here and set up. Okay, I want to seriously have a quick chat about what do you plan on doing when things get pretty crazy, and it won't be that long. Anyway, it's a great spot here. It's amazing. You go to some of the most beautiful beaches here, and you'll still find cows. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and yet it's so, for me, beautiful at the same time. Anyway, I'm just going to pull off here and set up, and we'll catch up with you just in a minute. Oh, this spot looks as good as any. Hey, so here we are. Okay. Where do you want to be when things start breaking out in the first or second quarter of 2026? It's a valid question. As you know, I've often preached it's not will you be affected. Heck, we all have been since the lockdowns and since the craziness going on, but the question is, to what degree? And I guess here I am on a Saturday afternoon. I'm going to probably have some lunch out here and maybe a piece of fish or something. I'll be spending about $10 for the whole day. I mean, I look at all the people and I really take a step back, and I am so thankful for the research I did prior to coming down here so many years ago. Leanne and I We're going on 18 years in this area, and little over 20 in the country. And I wanted a country where it doesn't freeze, because I'm tired of the cold coming from Canada, but also because if grid failures come into play, I don't know, it's not going to be a pretty situation. So I'm asking you folks, help me out here so I understand, because I don't leave the island all that much anymore. Do you want your money and your life savings in banks where there's liable to be tanks rolling down the street in a year? I can guarantee you by the first or second quarter of 2026, it's not my opinion, it's just extensive research, you are going to find a major breakout. Can you disagree with me that we hit the nail on the head? We said by mid-2025, almost everybody's going to be noticing a sharp uptick in violence, rioting. To me, it doesn't matter if it's from illegal immigration, or it's from everybody you let into the country, or it's religious differences, or color differences, or sex differences, or preference differences. If you can't live and let live, you're tearing the country apart from within. So I'd like to really find out. I think it's probably already quite tough for you folks out in Europe to start moving money and forget about it once that digital euro comes in, which is, take a step back, and why do you think they're doing this? You think they're doing this for your convenience? Let me ask you a question. How do you have a bank run if everything's digital? You just stop that problem in a heartbeat, and that's why they're rushing to get it in. And use history as my example. What happens when economies fail? Two things. They always take you to war, and secondly, they implement currency controls rapidly. Already money's fleeing Europe into the States, which is why I said the dollar is always going to be the last man standing. Just take a look at history. World War I, World War II. Anytime there's an occurrence in a certain part of the world, what happens? Money flees that, and it comes to the West. It comes into the States. So if you're from Canada, you're from Europe in particular, I'd love to hear from you. And if you're from the States, the question is, where do you want to be when the war breaks out? I'm seeing, to be truthful about it, prices have increased around here, but they're still a mere pittance compared to what it would cost to live in. I couldn't afford to live in my home country the way I live here, not anywhere close to it. So it is a great place to reallocate part of your portfolio. It's a safe place in the banks. They're still holding around an 8%, 9% cash reserve, which is really respectable compared to many other countries that are fighting a single percent. So the point is, you decide what's right for you. I'd love to hear from you if you're noticing any of the changes I'm mentioning. On a parting note, if you decide to come on down here, I'll be glad to show you around and introduce you to a whole hell of a lot of people and a whole hell of a lot of culture. Gosh, I'm not saying I know anywhere near everything, but after 18 years, I do know something. And come on down and meet some of my friends, and you'll see if the multitude of people we've relocated, see if you'll understand after a 3 or 4 day trip together, see if you understand why every one of them's a heck of a lot happier. But by nature, people like to complain. You know, old guys like to wear their pants up to here and complain about the government. Well, people need something to complain about. The biggest complaint I get is, I could have afforded this 10 years ago. Why did I wait so long? Can't answer it for them, but time waits for no one. So on that, as a parting note, it's old Barry, and we'll talk with you soon. Bye.